what's happening? Brett Miller. This is Choppin' Ain't Easy. Coming to you from the fort. Still working on my 2022 Lowrider S. I know if you guys haven't watched the videos before, it looks more like an ST. I added this fairing, I added those bags, but according to the VIN, it's actually just an S. But it now has a 131 in it. Randy out here at the fort is going to be dynoing it here one of these rounds. I thought, wow, you know, I really upgraded that motor. I probably better do something to that clutch. So we're gonna make some improvements to the compensator. We're gonna make some improvements to the clutch. Putting in a Harley Davidson Screaming Eagle clutch, and I'm going to use, in the compensator, I'm going to use an S&S Ramp that they made out of billet steel, so that it doesn't gall up as easy as the Harley Davidson cast unit. So we're gonna try this out, be moving along on this, and I'm gonna add some frilly hardware and things of that nature. Check it out. So we're gonna work on getting this primary taken off. That's gonna be our first step. You could probably get by with taking this primary off without removing this, but it's only 2 bolts, and I bought some ARP bolts for this, so that's why this is coming off. All right, so we're gonna take a second and kind of show you one of the things we were talking about. I'm updating this compensator from the Harley Davidson one. I'm gonna bring this up close and kind of see if you can kind of see how this is cast. And so in this area, it's kind of rough. This is a ramp that this thing has to slide up and down. So after a while, this starts to get galled up inside your compensator, and this is a big reason why a lot of compensators end up getting replaced, is because that gets so galled up and it doesn't really work right. S&S came through with this sexy little piece here. This is billet steel and incredibly smooth and hardened on here, so that should slide much easier. Yeah, just wanted to show you that. We're gonna keep going. Normally, I could start putting things together now if I was just doing the clutch pack and the compensator, but I'm an idiot and I like to change hardware around, and so I bought hardware to change these case bolts. However, you can't change this one right back here that is actually visible because the bolt is so long it will run into the inside of the primary. So for that reason only, I am going to take off the inner primary to change that bolt. And then probably the one that goes from the transmission into the engine as well. I got one of those too. So I'll make myself feel better by changing 2 bolts instead of just one. Yeah, we're gonna keep moving forward on this. so got the inner primary off, as you saw in that last video. It takes a little bit because you've got, you got your bolts inside here, then you've also got to remove the starter. And in order to get to this back starter bolt, it worked a lot better to pull the battery. That's what I was monkeying with on the other side, getting the battery out, getting the starter unhooked. Then the inner primary was able to come out. We actually had to pull the rotor off here first. Now I'm going to change these case bolts that can be seen. I'm going to go ahead and do these ones from the transmission over to the engine itself. Get those all changed out to 12-point ARPs and keep moving forward. So here's some of the stuff that you run into when you're trying to do aesthetic stuff. So I change everything normally over to ARP bolts. And so that was the whole reason I took off the inner primary, right? So I could do these. You can't hardly see those go in, but you could see these. You can see these engine case bolts. Well, problem is this guy here, it's not going to make it past the frame. So what does that mean? I got to stick a jack underneath there. That means I've got to take this engine mount off. I've got to take the engine mount off up here, and most likely the engine mount up here, which might mean I need to, at a bare minimum, raise the tank, if not remove the tank. This is just a nut. That's easy enough to remove, except this is a bolt basically that goes all the way through the bike, or all the way through the engine case. And it lands behind your controls, behind your brakes, so all that has to be removed just to take that out, so that I can move this whole engine up, say an inch, so that I can get that one bolt out. Yeah, it ain't easy being cool, but that's what I got going right now. Sometimes this stuff just is a little more difficult than you think it's gonna be. That's why this channel's called Choppin' Ain't Easy, because it's not. Through all that crap, change that bolt. So finally got her done, got all the engine mounts put back in, getting ready to go back together with the primary. We got the inner primary case on. This is the part that we were talking about from S&S that I showed you earlier. And so it's going in here, replacing this crusty one here. It's just that this one that Harley makes is cast, and it does get galled up. I think you can kind of see that hopefully on the video. But this one's very slick and should work nicely. And then the only other thing you will see us replacing is all of the friction discs and steels. There's more of them. It's a Harley Davidson Screaming Eagle kit, and a little harder springs. So, along with all the gaskets. So that's where we're at now. We're getting ready to put her back together. This should be hopefully the final push. Check it out. my first day at the fort. Managed to get Randy to stay late with me so that we could finish this up so we could get this video to you guys. Trying out that clutch next week, depending on schedule and weather and things of that nature. We may even get this sucker dyno tuned. I might have enough miles on it. Like I've said in the past, please like and subscribe. Share the channel with your friends. Feel free to comment down below and I will try to respond to everybody's comments. Check us out at the fort, Loveland, Colorado. Thanks a lot. Remember, chopping ain't that easy. So if you need stuff like this done, bring it out to us. Have a good one. Thanks.